Hey, how's it going, man? Get to the bit. So today we're gonna address some things with Yunseo Chung. I actually, just to give you guys a little bit of background, I actually made a video about this before, talking a little bit about this issue. But this is gonna be like the main course over here. So just to catch everybody up, I actually sent this email out to a bunch of people, inviting them Council of Korean Americans and Tool. I invited them twice. This one op-ed, Michael one. I think this is could be Michael one. Yeah, I think it's Michael one. Radio Korea. That's also what's his name? Mike Kim, I think, from Radio Korea. I think he's the host, or he was the host. I think he just stepped away for a while. There's something called K-Town Social. I was just watching that. I was hoping they would get involved, but I don't think so. We're gonna see what's on. Matt Kim. He's a pretty well-known Korean American. And I should also reach out to more, right? I was honestly exhausted. Just a good start. And there's some, TV. There's that guy, there's all kinds of people that should also probably be included in this. And I probably will get that in this, or I'll actually I'll put this together. I'm putting together a letter to send to Trump. So could it be a plan? Could it be real? There are a lot of issues. Story. Okay, let's see the email that I did not get any response. We know that Korean babies were praised number one file. I don't think Trump really knows about the realities that exist for Koreans and what's on there, Korean American. I think there's a lot of issues that play in the situation that are understood by non-Korean Americans at large. Right, that right there. I have a unique relation with Tulsi Gabbard, the new national head of intelligence, because of work. Not saying that I think she's trying to avoid me, really, but I do a lot of work. I'm working with the whole team out in New York again, right? We just do naturally cross paths. So it is what it is, right? You can choose to work with whoever you want to work with, and if you happen to be around anti-war, it's going to happen. Korea is just in this. We do have. I think this move would provoke resentment if they kick out, Yunseo Somali. We become an active and ongoing voice speaking out against the government that forced her out to deal with the new culture and language. Affected. The two said a little, and the Korean American electors over here are silent. Includes Ryan, Kim, Grace, Linda Lee, Grace Lee, Julie Warren, and so forth. I thought I included them. That would be District 23, 26. Let me see if I CC. I will definitely. I remember typing it in. Yeah, I got rid of it before. And also, there's other things that have happened, locally. So it's quite unfortunate. It's really. I'll check my chat in a second, see if anybody. I talk about. I started a letter to Trump right now. It talks about the situation a little bit, and I know that Oda is always like. He commented on the last video. He was like, "Why are you going to person?" Disgusting. Well, wait till you see some of the stuff that I do in this letter I draft. And looking through my connections with the Korean American as a victim, blah blah blah. Donations from an Asian American organization. Okay, we're talking about Grace Meng. Grace Meng is the highest Asian American elected official in New York State. Gets over 30 times donations from Israel than her second highest contributor. Okay. So I want you to think about this, Israel, right? Yeah, you're taking, right, Asian Americans like Grace Meng, and the situation is that, Asian Americans are politically weak. So you take a highest ranking, Asian American, and instead of helping Asian Americans like myself out, right, with the issues that I'm facing, right, instead you have her, putting people into place, right, yeah, excluding me, playing games, right, playing replacement games, stuff like that. Instead of having a fair and open conversation about today and more, especially my own personal stuff going on here, right? And this is also, we look at Jill Stein, a Jewish woman, no problem with her being Jewish, right? She's extremely generous. I even worked at her school. I've been hired by Jews, and I appreciate them. And they're bad. I'm not saying that Israel's all bad or all good, or Palestinians are all bad or all good. I could say things on both sides. Things a little bit more complex than just a simplistic look. But we'll get to that in a moment. But once again, right, Asian American actors have co-opted with to serve the Israeli state. And once again, I'd like to have a real honest conversation about things with, concerns with gang, high-level Asian Americans, all bad or all good. But once again, our people and our resources and our time and our efforts and our focus is co-opted. But where's the help back for us, right? Like, the thing is that we know that Jews face a lot of discrimination in education. Now this DEI is hurting Asian Americans, and we cannot see. It's not their fight. It's not their responsibility. It's not their job. So, right, once again, right, we see that the same way that when blacks were, right, we know that Jews were slaves in Egypt, and then when the blacks were fighting slavery, did the Jews really help? And when the Asian Americans suffer with discrimination in sports and entertainment, are the blacks really helping? No, right? We can see that there's actually no group really, once they kind of like overcome their own suppression and overcome like being a minority and these other issues, they don't really remember their pain as much, and they're ready to move up and move on. And this is actually true of many groups. Erase all the groups that are thrown in the trash. But this is going on, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this. We're going to come back to this issue. Once again, I uncovered this during my work with the Yang Gang, who had 100% white staff. This is not press, despite me bringing up at Alex Sharpton's name, also to the press. Right? My people never made black people slaves. Why are right? And I understand the blacks want to team up with the whites more than they want to team up with the Asian Americans. Right? The whites have more power. They got more money. They can make things happen for you that I can't make happen for you because I'm just a shitty Asian American man. It is what it is. You're not wrong to do that, but and the thing is that you keep teaming up with them. The fact of the matter is that while blacks are the largest and most powerful minority, right, and they can team up with whites a lot. They can end up, becoming the face for diversity while other minorities are hurt. And we see that, we recognize this. Not saying it happens all the time. In fact, in some ways, blacks are helping, in unique ways and in pioneering ways, really fighting stronger than other races to some extent. But every group has a limit. They have to fight for their own survival and rights. No two even people will share all priorities or positions. We'll come back to this. We'll talk about. I know my chat right now. I wonder if Vigo is here. I want to have a chat with him. Talk about the stuff that about to pop off and show you the hypocrisies and also the manipulations that's going on. I'm not saying that Israel's wrong to do this. 100% right. Like they're trying to win. They have their own issues. They're going to use the tools they have available. I get that, but co-opting other people's stuff, that things go away and making them ignore our own issues. That's you can't buy loyalty. Check my chat. I was actually watching. I had asked them. I don't know if I saw. I think I showed earlier the email. I had asked our for help. I don't think they're going to respond. I think maybe they're not, but I think they're mad about things that I complain about communism. Could be just me. Maybe I'm wrong. They don't talk, so there's no accountability response. So they who knows what's going on. Get to it. Anyways, yeah, I had actually a list of the things I was going to try to accomplish today, and I asked, made a little plan here. Parents whose child is ripped away from them from himself will start to speak out against in Korea, exiled to help U.S.-Korea relations at this critical time. Just my opinion. Moms that see people from mental hospitals and prisons by Yunseo description. This is in the letter as well. Okay? I said we would put together a petition. Let's work on it together to put together a list of things we can agree on. Come out with a strong, unified, coalitional document. So, if I could get Asians on the right and left to agree to this particular some of the things I have to say here, then that will be helpful. Right? You don't have to agree on everything. Maybe we can come up with for people that care to learn about what happened to Korea. Talk about those in a moment. We may incorporate those into the thing here. 2. Pressure Korean administration without a state issue. So I will be emailing Ron Kim, all Korean Americans. Start an education campaign to teach people about how war caused Koreans to be trafficked and how we also see starvation, oppression without acknowledgement. And how Yunseo represents a larger picture of how ignorance, our perspective, has horrible consequences. I guess I'll be working alone on this. Set up communication with Trump and Yunseo. I know a lot of ways to get to Trump. Get it. Yunseo is not a criminal or a PENS patient. It's not her fault. She was indoctrinated by out-of-touch academic elites when this is encouraged by society at large. The truth about why there should be not a fair thing. I like to see Koreans and Korean Americans a greater part of the discussions of the Palestine conflict. On the same time as Palestinians for Koreans and what they have endured. Yeah, Korea's kind of like the Palestine. The legacy of relocation into the U.S. as war refugees suppressed because if our issues are they never solved. Stuff that I had to say. I copy and paste this from the email, yeah. Let's get to some. Now we can see over here. I talk about why Koreans feel sympathy for Palestine. Okay, go and check to see if it's here. Is this even live streaming? Oh, emoji, what's up? Cool that I'm focusing on this topic. My mic sound is dipping in and out. Sorry about that, right? Okay. On their team. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what that is, but let's get to the issues right here, folks. So the fact of the matter is that let's look at this. Thanks for checking it out. If you have anything you want to add, right to the letter. But the first thing that I kind of talk about here is that I'm asking. This is my letter to Trump. I do have ways to get him a message that other people don't know about. So you'd think that it would be, if they really want to help this girl, right? You'd think that they'd want to maybe set some kind of line of communication up. Oh no, I also sent him the email. I remember now. I sent the email to more people. I also sent the email to the lawyers of Yunseo. But where is this email now? I had found the email address for the lawyers. I know it was before the 13th. Is someone tampering with my email? It also might not have been sent because a lot of my stuff. Oh, here it is. Okay. I did find, right? Yeah. Oh, these are the lawyers for Yunseo. Yunseo Chung case information. Sent it to Michael Kim. I sent it to oh, this is sent to District 23. That's Linda Lee and Grace Lee, right? Yeah. No, Linda Lee and Julie Won. Those are the New York City Council members. I did not send to Grace Lee. Send packets for the Republicans. I sent to Helen as well. I don't think she's gonna respond either. Bolton, he was the captain of the Yang Gang Manhattan team. Min Kwan, they're actually a quite well-known Korean American, more pushy, progressive, leftist type of thing. I have the Black Panthers in here, including Panther Shepcat, the New York City kind of runner guy. Elaine Brown. I have the email for Bobby Seale as well, but he has not responded. So let me get to these people. I don't expect anybody to reply or anything anyways, but I do have their emails. Okay, I sent the trial information, the direct court case summary, with the names of the lawyers. I looked up the names of the lawyers, right? I have the lead lawyer's name, and his email information is in here for the rest of the group to actually contact them back if they want to. I also emailed the Asian American Bar Association in New York and noted that there was no Asian that the list of lawyers are Jews and Arabs, but there are no Korean Americans or even Chinese Americans or East Asian or Japanese Americans. Not that there should be Chinese or Japanese. There's different issues. In fact, the Koreans have their own specific issues, but they talk about it actually on K-Town Social. They say the South Asian man and the East Asian woman. That's who's selected. Here we have also, Eldridge Cleaver and Joju Cleaver and Barbara. I think it was his name Barbara Cleaver or something like Elaine. Anyways, she was out. I emailed them too because they went to Korea. Oh, Elaine, no. Fred Hampton Jr. Yeah, okay. Barbara, yeah, Barbara Cleaver. Yeah, this is Barbara Cleaver. He was married to Eldridge Cleaver, who was actually one of the main leaders of the Black Panther Party. And the history of Black Panther Party and Korea is significant, but it is what it is. So it's not going to be addressed or acknowledged. Right? The white people once again are really they invite the rich people invite the Black Panther stuff all the time. They have their own story, but they're not really that interested in helping Korean. Can't blame them, right? What do they have to gain? We're smaller, we're weaker. They could mess up other relationships by actually helping us. Black Panthers are not going to help us, folks. I reach out to them many times. They reach out once in a while, right? But nothing really. They're not really going to confront the people that's giving them the money on our behalf. And should they? Right? Not their job. They're Black Panthers, not Korean Panthers. Don't turn the ghetto into Black Korea, right? Yeah, they're not gonna help. Some blacks are helping, not all of them. Anyways, let's go to this. So the thing is that one of the big things just here, right? Let's start off with the email to Trump over here is talking about, right? He wants to talk about America first, right? You could look up this thing called the Apollo Affair, right? Did you know that Israel actually stole a nuclear bomb from the United States? They want to yell at Korea for having nuclear weapons, but did they steal that nuclear bomb from the United States? Like, the treatment is not the same, right? Once again, I'm saying, like, like Trump is like has the back of like Israel this time. Or is he talking about having the back of even South Korea or just Korea in general, right? Like, Israel's so important, right? Like, but once again, we're on the same timeline of government interference, right? With we had our own genocide from the Japanese, right? Like, where is this acknowledgement, right? And saying that Jews haven't suffered, but the fact of the matter is that they put themselves ahead of everybody else. We know the Jews say never forget. But the thing is that, do you know that there's victims of the Second Reich, the Namibians? We don't talk about the victims of the Second Reich because we forget about them because their suffering is irrelevant. What? This just you say never forget, but you mean don't forget about you. But as in terms of forgetting about us, you're more than happy to do it. More than happy to, once again, we know Jews actually did face a lot of discrimination in the educational system. They're not helping us. It's that once again, it's not their job to help us, right? I can't be mad at them. I can't blame them. But let's be real about the solidarity. It only works in one direction. Let's be fucking real. Okay? Stop fucking around. Okay. So once again, I'm going to email this to Trump, right, and ask him to explain this, right? Is it right for Israel to have nuclear weapons? If they can have nuclear weapons, why doesn't South Korea have nuclear weapons? Does Israel have a higher right to sovereignty than Korea? Maybe we have to buy the protection, and maybe we can buy the nukes then, right? But listen, Israel's paying the U.S. off if they're buying off candidates and all this other thing. Whatever Israel's doing, Korea should be doing the same shit. If they're making 30-time donations to Grace May, then it's time for Samsung or LG or whatever Korean company start forking the money over, right? And to start controlling the politics on the same shit. You know what I mean? Then they can get then they can, maybe have support from Trump. That's what it looks like to me, right? Trump is not Jewish. He's not. He's not. So why would he care about it? He cares about because they have the power, they're winning, and they also give the money. And right, if we're not doing the same shit, then of course he's gonna fucking help them, right? If the Jews are giving him a lot of money and helping to win his what he cares about his elections, then he should help them. If they're helping him, right? If we're not providing equivalent amounts of support and work, then what are we gonna expect? You know what I mean? Here's showing how Grace Meng, right, once again, her number one donor, she gets $466,000 from Israel, right? Her second largest, you know, LLP, right? You can look them up. They're obviously shadow government bureaucrats, right? This talk about the right the swamp, okay? She only gets $13,000. Her second largest donor, right? That's 30. If you multiply 13,800 by 34 times, you get $465,000, right? She's bigger than the top rest of the 2 through 20, right? The top 20, the rest of the other top 20 combined. That's how much money she's caking off of, as foreign, you know, government. America first, or is this, what is this? I mean, she's not Asian American. She's actually, if you look at the money, she's actually, right, once again, I'm not saying, right, I don't appreciate this, Israel, right? You are actually, right, cool. And these politicians are for sale, so it's not your fault, right? So I'm not right, but our Asian American, leaders are being co-opted, bought off. You're not wrong to do it, but then they don't work on Asian American issues. They prioritize us last, and how much money did I donate to Meng? I can't really blame her. She's from Forest Hills, which is not an Asian American district. She's not from Chinatown. She's not from Koreatown. She's from Forest Hills. Not an Asian community. There's some Asian community there. It's not a majority Asian community. She's not representing the Asian American district. So, she looks the part, but she's being used for other things. That's okay, right? You can have black people representing white districts. You can have Jewish people representing non-Jewish. That's okay, right? It is okay, but a lot of times Grace Meng is used as the face and used as a controller for other Asian American politicians because she's the highest-ranking Asian American, you know, uh, legislator in the entire, thing. And that, by the way, right? And if you think that this is okay for Israel to do to Asians, okay, why don't you try doing that to the blacks? You're not gonna do it, right? And y'all know y'all are involved in this. Y'all know, right? We are being actually right because we don't have the political strength, so we are just being, you know, I don't appreciate it. But we're getting what we deserve because we're weak and we're small. Where's the help from me in the issue I'm facing? Israel used to give, by the way, just in 22, right? Israel used to give Democrat candidates over 5 times what they gave to Republican candidates. 5 times, okay? Not twice, not 3 times. 5 times the amount of money went to Democrats as Republicans because the Democrats were running. They have no loyalty. They are not loyal to Republicans. They are loyal to whoever's winning. And they'll pay enough. They'll make sure they're paying more than everybody else. It's time for other people to wise up, get in the game, and stop being bullied around. I'm not saying, right? I, res- I respect what they're achieving and their game plan. By the way, not I'm still overall right because what happened to the if Israel wants to really where's actually right addressing what happened in they don't want to talk about it. How can I help you when you not help when you making sure that when our issues are never addressed? How can you tell me not to forget when you clearly forgetting about us? So they go to or other Israelis. I know they watch my show. I know the Palestinian supporters don't. It's obviously ridiculous. You're being used, by the way, to there's a lot of millionaires who's exploiting the anti-war movement for their own wealth and cutting out actual war victims. Disgusting. Why don't you have a reparations event with no black people or a Holocaust event with no Jews? Go ahead, do that. Do that. Right? What happens if I did like think about this, right? If you're Israeli or if you're a Jew, right, supporter, right? Yeah, think about if what would happen if I had an event, right? Yeah, for the Holocaust, and I did not allow any Jews at the event. And I collected money on behalf of the cause. Wouldn't you be like, hey, wait a minute, that's kind of fucking wrong? What happens if Israel steals a nuclear bomb, nuclear material from the United States? That's disrespectful. And it's also making the whole entire area more dangerous and more likely to have a nuclear war. Like, if you got the nukes on your own, like, okay, it is what it is, right? But how do you steal the nuclear material from the United States? This is called the Apollo Affair. Look it up, right? Yeah. Then, right, we have the U.S. going to war because of weapons of mass destruction in Iran, going to war, or I think Iraq, yeah, threatening, right, yeah, calling Kim Jong Un like Rocket Man and saying, "Oh, you have these nukes, blah blah blah." Y'all are right with Israel having nukes. Why don't you let South Korea have nukes? China, I think China has nukes, right? They're dangerous neighbors. Israel's allowed to have nukes. Why can't South Korea have nukes? I want to hear an Israeli tell me why. That's why they don't come on my show and talk about it, right? I'm not saying, right, that they're haven't suffered. I'm not saying they're all wrong, blah blah blah, right? Yeah. I'm not saying, right, there were Jews who faced getting kicked out of the Arabic lands, but there's a lot of weird hypocrisy that just not really adding up. Besides, also, right, look, I've been living in Palestinian communities with poor people, or war refugees, shit like that, right? Yeah, it was raping people. They got messed up from the war. I'll be real with you. The rough community because they came out of a really messed up situation. I could relate. I don't think a lot of people that stuff appreciate that as much as I do. It is what Palestinians I do in very similar ways to Korean. And maybe we could talk about it, right? Okay. What? Yeah. What happened to the Koreans? Businesses they just got to start pumping $500,000 to opposition Canadian. Bet you 750K, right? Yeah. You want to have like Grace Ming out here, right, getting $500,000 from Israel, right? Just shown here earlier, right? Okay. Give a give a Jewish candidate $500,000, okay? Please stop interfering with Asian American, right? We have our own issues we're trying to address, right? Yeah, but you're buying off our people and inserting, right, shills for the Israeli state, right? Yeah, and instead of Asian American, right, our top leaders helping Asian Americans like myself stop Asian hate is a joke. They inserting Ken Jeong in Hollywood bullshit, you know, I mean, disgusting. So, look, I don't know Yunseo. Actually, I have a video. In the previous video, I went through the thing and saw that she actually was from Virginia, which is CIA country. It's very possible that the CIA may be trying to insert someone, but the overall, I would still support Yunseo because I'm not really sure, but just overall being Korean American myself, knowing how a lot of, you know, Yonseo's actually came over with her parents. There's a lot of Korean Americans my age actually raised by white parents because they were adopted because the number one export for Korea for a while was actually children. And let me show that to you. There's a lot of things about Korea that people just don't know or acknowledge, right? Yeah, because our suffering is okay. How is your number one export your children? This is just ridiculous, man. World's baby exported violated human rights. These children are victims, right? Mass exporting children for adoption, right? Yeah. Committed numerous human rights over decades. Worldwide adoption fraud. Um, who wants to be a baby exporter? Can you imagine the United States was exporting its baby? This is a tragedy from the war. That's not really addressed. All right, folks. So I'm exhausted, but I'm going to document this. So this is where this is going, folks. I want to keep everybody caught up. I will be sending the email to Trump and his people soon. I'm trying to make some progress on those. Let me see if there's anything else happening in the chat here. Anybody has any comments or something later? I don't see anything in the chat, so probably I don't think anybody. Oh, it's one person, so I'm probably the one watching. All right, we'll go forward with this information. All right, God bless.